a stale black and white country. But there's always one thing that I believe, that there's always light inside every darkness. There's always hope inside every wreckage. We may never come to prepare festivals, but there's other ways that we can do to help preserve Indonesian's culture amid the plague. And what I'm going to tell you right now is only my opinion. This is my opinion. You have yours. That's absolutely fine. Everybody's different, so don't take it to your heart. And please put down your pitchforks, all right? Please put it down. I don't want to start a controversial argument over small things like this, all right? Okay. Sorry about that. Back to the topic. We all can start by buying cultural art books online about Indonesia. It is not safe to go outside the store unless you want a virus inside your lungs. And make sure to read the description and trusting the client. I heard a lot of deception these days right now about buying things online. And finally, after you're done with your purchase, wait until it came and start reading about Indonesian wonderful colors of natures and arts. And if you don't trust to go to the online store, you can always go to the internet. Okay, we all know that the internet is a horrible place full of untruths, lies, anguish, pain, hovering over us in a small glimpse of peace. And there's also a lot of unneeded politics. But that's the only option if you don't want people giving you a brick inside of a book. There's a millions of sources, if not trillions, that you can trust, giving you a big information that you need. But you have to have a high experience for you to trust a lot of sites. But if you don't want to buy a book, or if you don't want to go to the internet, you can go just try to learn from different people, whether it's your parents, teachers, or just an experienced stranger. You can always learn something or two from them. It ain't much, but it's an honest work. And so that's all I can give you about this speech. Thank you for those listening and taking my advice. This has been my pleasure to help people something about how diverse and beautiful this country is, both from looks and culture. Once again, my name is Jonathan, and thank you for listening. See you later.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that spectacular speech. Well, it seems that the second session has come to an end. For Mr. Yo, we have 15-minute break within which we ask you not to leave the Zoom meeting but turn off your cameras and your audio. We'd also like to thank the participants for joining, and we wish you good luck. Thank you for joining Zoomy Talkies.
Okay, thanks for all. Now you can leave the Zoom meeting. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
Kok tak ngecas lagi? Tinggal
Mr. Leo, untuk sesi berikutnya kita mulai di jam 1:10. Mr. Leo, ini ada satu peserta yang minta recordingnya. Apa itu boleh? Berarti saya nggak usah kasih gitu ya, minta bilang dia buka linknya aja gitu ya. Oke, thank you sir. Tapi katanya dia live streamingnya mati di tengah-tengah dia nonton punyanya dia. Berarti nggak boleh ya, Mister? Oke. Ya, saya kasih tahu dia. Thank you, sir. Semua panitia bisa on cam. Semua panitia bisa on cam. Ini aku mau admit mereka pesertanya. Calvin, Mr. Leo, ini saya mulai sekarang. Maksudnya saya admit sekarang.
Welcome to the third and final session of the Zoom Meet Talkies competition. For our last session, we begin with Gavionita. The Zoom is yours whenever you're ready.
Your honorable judges, beloved audience, and all of my friends, good afternoon and may peace be with us. First of all, I'd like to thank God for all of His blessing and guidance. So today we are able to gather here in the good health. Secondly, my name is Gavionita. I am from 11th Science Tree, and it's an honor for me to be here and deliver my speech today. So, ladies and gentlemen, the foreign culture was brought by the globalization. Many people think that globalization has been Indonesia since 16th or 17th centuries. But I believe it began when the internet development in the 1990s. Because through the internet, the flow of information and communications are increasingly unstoppable. So when the globalization first appeared, we all know sooner or later, Indonesia will be one of those that affected. You know what? It's not something that we can refuse. And as you can see, Today's life is very close with the foreign things, including culture. So basically, when we're talking about Indonesian and the foreign culture, it's just like we're comparing apples to oranges. I mean, it's completely different. Foreign culture was something that we took from other country. However, a culture is represent us as Indonesian. And okay, it all starts from the small habit. Habits can shape our identity. And as you can see, if we lose our culture, it's mean we're gonna lose ourselves either. Okay, today's society thinks that existing of Indonesian culture cannot limit people freedom to express themselves. They said it's too boring, too complicated, and we cannot express ourselves. Well, then I have to say something. It's kind of true, but every little thing has their own meaning, and we should be proud of it because it's something that foreign things doesn't have. Ladies and gentlemen, when these problems come to the surface, we must settle a few strategies to counter them. The first is development of national identity. Our efforts to develop Indonesian culture, including respect to the cultural values of social solidarity and love for the country, are felt to be fading away. And the culture that fit into the character of this nation is getting difficult to find, while the foreign culture is easier to penetrate. Okay, of course, the impact of the globalization is unavoidable, but actually, this is the time that we must think out of the box. We can try with the cultural development, which is used as the basic for planning strategies in cultural preservation and development. And we must to understand that Indonesian culture is not something that out of the date, but it should be able to synergize with the universal and the modern values that has been brought by the globalization. The second thing is understanding cultural philosophy. What do we think when we hear about cultural philosophy? I'm sure most of us find this topic is uninteresting. This is the reason of why Indonesian culture is very easily to being shifted by the foreign culture. But I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart for those who are interested in our local culture. It is important to understand the culture philosophy because it's part of our identity. So, if we've seen so many schools today include culture in their curriculum, but if we take a look at the results, is it enough to make students fall in love with the culture? It's simply no, because nothing changes instantly. Everything needs process, because from the process, we're gonna grow up and learn so many things together. Last but not least, utilization of information technology. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, in this global era, those who's mastering information technology have a bigger chance to mastering civilization than those who are weak at the use of information technology. Therefore, the things that we have to do is to take the benefit of access to the information and communication technology as a preserver and developer in the culture. So, Indonesian culture is very rich and diverse. Even the world appreciates it. However, this cultural wealth is not accompanied by the use of communication and information as the promotional media. If we're able to do this, we can bring Indonesian culture to the next level, just like the foreign culture did. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for my speech today. I hope you can learn something new from it. I'm sorry if I had a mistake during my speech. Thank you for all attentions. Good afternoon and God bless you all.
Ooh, and that was Jeffionita's speech. Very impressive. Thank you, Jeffionita. Continuing, we have our next participants, Alexa. The Zoom is yours whenever you are ready.
Good afternoon, judges and the committees. My name is Alexa Nova, and I'm from Class 11 Social 2. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity today to give a speech about the impact of using gadgets on Indonesian culture and language. Indonesia is very rich in culture, ethnicity, and language. There are 564 regional languages according to Wikipedia, and from the results of the 2010 BPS census, there are 1,340 ethnicity in Indonesia. With Indonesia's vast territory, it will be difficult to communicate and find information, especially for remote areas that are difficult to reach. Today, much of the information we get came from the internet. However, how did technology and the internet get into Indonesia? The history of the Indonesian internet began in the early 1990s. At that time, the internet network in Indonesia was better known as the Paguyupan network, where the spirit of cooperation, kinship, and mutual cooperation was very warm and felt among the people. In time, the use of technology became more widespread in Indonesia, especially in big cities with large number of people working in fields that require fast, accurate, and efficient communication and information service. There are many people, especially parents, who always lecture us, don't play gadget too much. But is it true that gadget and technology only bring bad things? Of course not. There are many advantages of technology that benefit us. For example, the ease of finding information. We can access information whenever and wherever. With just a touch of our fingertips, we can find out what is happening in other parts of the world. Moreover, with the size of Indonesia's vast territory, how else can we find out what is happening in Papua quickly if we only rely on newspapers? In this modern era, technology is developing rapidly. A lot of increasingly sophisticated technology have emerged. Carrying out daily activities became easier, especially for young people who are very attached to technology, from elementary school children to workers. It's as if there are no boundaries in using technology in the form of gadgets. While our gadgets seem very useful and beneficial, they also have a negative impact on our life. One of them is the entry of foreign culture. With gadgets, we can access the internet, and from the internet, we can connect to social media, where there are a lot of information that can be obtained, and although a lot of the information are positive, some are not. Because it is easy for us to access the internet, we are also a lot more accepting to foreign culture. Because today's teens are more willing to find their identity and be seen as a cool person. They will follow trendier things that are not understood by older people. An example is in the case of traditional dances. One of the most well-known Indonesian culture is the dances. We have more than 30 types of dance from various cultures, originating from Sabang to Merauke. However, due to the arrival of foreign cultures that are considered cooler, a lot of us prefer to learn modern dances instead of our traditional dances. Eventually, we forgot our traditional dances and no one will preserve this culture. Because social media originates from Western culture, there are more interesting topics, especially for Indonesian and young people from abroad. In my opinion, even the content offered by foreign YouTuber or social media influencer from abroad is much more interesting than the content offered by our country. So what happened is that everyday language is used instead of good and correct Indonesian. But there are additions such as slang and idioms from foreign language. In addition, because English is an international language that we have begun to learn from childhood, in modern time, many parents want their children to be able to speak good and correct English, and some of them, believe it or not, forget our own language, Indonesian. Another thing is, English is often seen as cooler, and people who speak English are considered smarter than everyone else. After knowing the things I've explained, how do we take advantage of the culture we have through gadgets? Cultural preservation through publication in using our gadget is a very effective way. Due to the nature of the internet, which is able to reach a wide audience in a very short time. Moreover, the existence of the internet in modern time make it very easy for people to quickly find and get knowledge quickly. They can easily share knowledge and also get knowledge at the same time, especially about culture. Therefore, yes, it's true that gadgets have a negative impact in our life. So we must be able to sort through information that we obtain while keeping up with the development of gadgets. In addition, the role of the media is very important in cultural preservation, because with the existence of the media, cultural preservation can be published to the public through our gadgets. Thank you for listening.
And that was Alexa Nova's speech. Very impressive. Thank you, Alexa Nova. Continuing, we have our next participant, Fernando Darrell. The Zoom is yours whenever you're ready.
Thank you for the time, Alvira. Good afternoon, judges and my friends. So without wasting any more time, please do allow me to start my speech. Do you know that amidst pandemic COVID-19, local culture has become more and more forgotten? Mahatma Gandhi once said, "A nation culture resides in the hearts and the soul of its people." It's kind of sad to see the culture, or should I say the way of life of our ancestors getting faded and faded day by day, like a mist in the mountain. Some will forget it, some will remember it, some will condemn it, some will adore it, some will hate it, but some will love it. It really depends on us to why we love something. I firmly believe that there is no objective truth, so do beauty. Some might say that Indonesian culture is ugly, but for me, it's a beauty that God has given to us. There's no word to express how depressing the current state of local culture right now. I am a realistic and conservative person, but deep down, I am a visionary man. But today's problem, let's face it, is no easy problem to solve. Let me tell you something. I am no expert, I'm no motivator, I am no leader. I'm not worthy to give an explanation to this problem, but I will try. When I mean to try, I will do my best. There is no solution to this problem. That's the harsh truth of the reality. Some action might alleviate this problem, but none can solve this completely. Let me explain. Writing this speech feels like a hurdle to me, since the criteria of this speech is kind of strict, and one of them is factual data. Problem is, there is no data about local culture amidst pandemic. So allow me to use my imagination and normative analysis to give you some insight, and remember, not solution to this problem. Luckily for me, I have some data that can back my theory up. So actually, a lot of income that people who run culture-related business are actually from tourists. Interesting, isn't it, that the people from outside of Indonesia bought more goods and services that are related to the local culture than the Indonesian is. How pathetic is that? The second data that I have is that Indonesia right now is losing about 99.9% ish of its tourists. This is a really huge deal for people who run culture-related business. It's disastrous for the worker, so do the employer. Both will lose out a lot of money. Some will go bankrupt, some will go in debt, some even might go homeless and starving. So how do we bring the tourists back? We do it with a simple action that always has been underestimated. It's social distancing. Well, you might ask, why does it have to do with culture, Daryl? Well, I'm no economist, but I can tell you that with a simple but powerful theory that might explain this problem. Economists call this theory deflationary spiral, which is a theory which says downward price reaction to an economic crisis, leading to a lower production, lower wages, decreased demand, and still lower price. So let me put this into a much simpler sentences, so you can understand it much better. So tourists gone leads to a lower income for business, leads to work termination, lead to lower quality product that leads to a decreased income. So this cycle goes around forever. So this problem is like a spiral unless we cut out the root of this problem. So what's the problem? It's a confident level of tourists to go on vacation in Indonesia. Well, to do that, we need to make sure Corona is at least manageable in Indonesia. Well, you know why I said that a simple action can or might alleviate this problem? Well, it's not easy on practice. We can see this from our surrounding. It's a very complicated problem, which has a lot of variables that goes into it. And well, we know why we know why people say it's easier than done. Well, before I end today's speech, I have some last word to say. Well, not exactly my word, but this words you can say this is from my idol. He is Jordan Peterson, a doctoral in psychology in America. He said, "Life is suffering. That's the price you have to pay to be alive." That's all from me. Thanks for listening. God bless everyone.
What a magnificent speech by Fernando Darrow. All right, we finished today, and with that, day 2, which is our final day of Zumi Talkies competition, is over. We'd like to thank the judges and the participants for joining today's sessions, and we wish you all good luck. You are free to leave the Zoom meeting now. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.